So we get those drums balanced into the drum mix bus a little bit. And once we do that, I'm looking at the vocals here and I'm just thinking, how do I get them a little bit more crispy, a little bit more cutting? For now, because these are going to go to a vocal mix bus and I brought the vocal mix bus down here, I want to throw something on the vocal mix bus that's going to give it just a little bit of spit, you know, just a little bit of cut. Something I really like to do first is I like to compress on the vocal mix bus and also have an EQ there just in case, you know, like to shape. What I'll do is I'll have an EQ. I'll open up an EQ real quick and then I will always trying to save voltage. If you have my mastering masterclass, you know exactly what I'm talking about because that's the most important thing here is to save all this voltage down at the bottom so that I can get a louder mix, right? And also just something that's competitive for nowadays, 2021 vibes, you know? So here I'm also going to kind of dip out a little bit here because I know that this is kind of chunky in his vocal. And then I know there's going to be stacks as well. So I want to pop that in. The second thing I really like to do is I like this Townsend Townhouse Bus Compressor from BX Digital. And this is, you can get this with the Plugin Alliance bundle that's like $10 a month. So it's super well worth it. And then I'll just kind of compress all the vocals together, just lightly. I'm not going to do much. And if I'm overdoing it, I'll use this mix knob and I'll just kind of parallel it. Okay, something I do a lot. So let's play this and get these vocals just spanking just a little bit on this compression, maybe 2 dB.
And never make it home. No decent burial, not even one bone. Portals hidden in trees, no you can't see him. He's calling shots far beyond big bags of trim. A buddy too lamp short, I heard him yelling at him. Well, if you wanna burn your slash, won't you do it downwind? Tosses taking chances, crossing streams and breaking branches, popping seeds and growing trees, and stopping avalanches. He won't take no for an answer. There's no going back if he won't let you.
Okay, so I really like that. And then I may want like a little bit of more thickness in the middle for the vocals. And something I really love for that is I love to use a send to a doubler. And I'm actually just going to import that session data. But you can also use like Cla Vocals, anything to widen out the middle. So I'm going to import session data again, or you can use the key command. And then as I import session data, I'm always going to be probably pulling from a session that I've already worked on with the artist, just because we've dialed in things before, right? So let's go into here and grab some effects and stuff. So this is called fattening. I'm also going to grab the chamber verb. Actually, not the chamber verb. I'll grab the long verb. And yeah, I think that's good. Actually, let's grab the chamber verb as well. Just some reverb stuff. Don't import the main playlist and hit OK. And I'm just grabbing some effects sends that I used with him before. So the capital chambers, I don't have it. So we will, I knew there was a reason I didn't want to import that chamber verb because I didn't actually use it. I think I bypassed it. So I'm just going to delete that. I don't need the chamber verb. But I have this long verb, which is a Lexicon 480L. Going into a Pro Q3 that's going to just basically, you know, filter out the bottom and then also the vocal range a little bit. And then the fattening is a doubler, and I like to bring this down just a little bit. I don't really want that to be super like high end top, that it's widening, but it's pretty typical. And then just get rid of the bottom and then an S1 imager that's kind of spreading it even further. So that's going to go to the all Vox bus. So we got to make sure that it's going to the right all Vox bus, not the one that it imported. Because when you import session data, sometimes with Pro Tools, you're just getting the old buses, right? So I'm just going to go to all Vox. There's a vocal mix and then an all Vox here. Okay. And make sure just all of this stuff is really like we have a lead vocal. Okay, so long reverb as well. Let's take that to the all Vox. So I'm just taking out the buses so that we can hear everything. All right, and then let's send a little bit of that. Hopefully I'm not being like over-explanatory. I just want this to be really clear when I'm doing this stuff. So let's send this out. This is the lead vocal. Let's send this out to the long verb and the fattening. So first I'm going to do the fattening because I think the fattening is going to be really good for this. And then let's do the long verb bus as well. So long reverb, and by long reverb, I'm talking, you know, let's see, this is like one, yeah, this is actually pretty short reverb. So maybe not so long. Maybe it should be called short reverb. So the RTM time is 1.145 and it's a plate. So it's actually a short plate. So I might want to be calling this, you know, short. I probably started with a long reverb. Short plate verb, right? So now let's just start sending this to the fattening for the vocals to kind of get them to push out front. And let's see what we can do. And also give it a little verb.
Even one bone. Portals hidden in trees. No, you can't see him. He's calling shots far beyond big bag and trim. My buddy too lamp short. I heard him yelling at him. Well, if you wanna burn your slash, won't you do it downwind? Cautious taking chances, crossing strings and breaking branches, popping seeds and growing trees, and stopping avalanches. He won't take no for an answer. There's no going back if he won't let you. Growing trees is all he knows, and peeping at you through the upstairs window.
Okay, so this is kind of like a rap kind of verse thing. So we have to be really careful not to use like a really long reverb. So this reverb actually works perfect for it, just because it's like gives it a room, but it's not like you know. I only use long reverbs on like very legato singing lines, you know, and also depending on the BPM. And this is pretty, you know, 97 BPM with the, you know, the funk rolling and the rapping. Like we want to keep it pretty short. So right now I'm pretty happy with that lead vocal sound for now, right? I will give it some more sauce, but let's jump in and get these doubles going with it. It looks like these are kind of like really prevalent throughout. So let's see what we can do with these doubles and what they're sounding like.
Now the story I first heard from a long time ago was never to go out in the woods all alone. Now the story I first heard from a long time ago was never to go out in the woods all alone. Listen up, children. Now the story I first heard from a long time ago was never to go out in the woods all alone.
Another thing that I'm going to start doing now is I'm just going to mute everything that I don't want to hear for now instead of soloing, because obviously like you can get into that problem where I just unsolo and it's like, whoa, there goes all of my soloing. For now, I don't really care like that I brought in the guitars and stuff. It's okay. It's fine. I'm not really worried about that right now, but let's make sure that we mute everything, all the guitars and acoustics, and just mute all that stuff for now, and we'll kind of bring that in one by one as we go. But so far, like, we have everything we need. I'm also going to mute the perks, right? Because I don't really need the perks right now. I don't want to hear all that stuff. I'm going to actually bring that in later, because it's not like it's a huge part of the track. The djembe might be like a part of the rhythm that we really need, but for now, like, I don't need to hear it. I'm just trying to get this this bass and the drums and the vocals going.
Listen up, children. Now the story I first heard from a long time ago was never to go out in the woods all alone. People go missing and never make it home. No decent burial, not even one bone.
So one thing I don't like is I don't like taking the doubles and panning them a little to the right or left. I think that's a really just kind of like a lazy way of getting doubles to be heard, right? Someone's just like, well, if we just pan them off a little bit, then you'll hear the doubles. It's like, okay, so why would you need doubles then if, you know, like if you're just trying to like, I don't know, just they don't serve a purpose to me, I don't feel like, unless you're doing something different. Like, you know, you got parts where you're really, you know, doing something different. Like this sounds to me like the doubles are the same exact thing, right? Let's hear them.
Now the story I first heard from a long time ago was never to go out in the woods all alone. People go missing and never make it home. No decent burial, not even one bone.
So for me as a mixing engineer, I actually would just make the call to, you know, mute the doubles because they're not doing anything different. Like if it's just stacking in just to stack in, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So maybe we'll put them in you know, certain spots, but for now I'm just going to mute them. I'm not even going to worry about them. They're just like doing exactly what the lead line's doing. So don't need them. Okay, so let's go into the other vocals. We got like a back vox here. It looks like it's a different singer, so we got two different back vocals, and these are panned left and right, so I'm thinking this is kind of a stereo vibe. So let's check these out.
Flash, won't you do it downwind? Yeah. Squatches taking chances, strains and breaking branches, popping seeds and growing trees, and stopping avalanches.
Same thing, I don't really like the idea of it like being panned like that, right? Like I want like the low vocal down here. I want it to be here, and then I want the high vocal to be here, and I want the lead vocal to be here. I don't really feel like you need like this over here on the right, and then this in the left. That's weird to me. It just doesn't really make sense unless you're doing it for an effect, or it's like a something that you're like punching, like where you're like, oh, I want to make a whispery, weird voice that's gonna get you in the right ear or something, you know. But I just don't see the necessity to pan these out. So I'm going to put these right up the middle, and instead of panning them out, I'm going to start to bring this in by compressing it, getting rid of the lead vocal range on this so that it's not competing against the lead vocal. And I'm going to bring it down to the lower part, you know, because that's what he's doing here. He's talking. And then the high one, we're going to get rid of all the low stuff, and we're going to get a little bit crispier on the top. So I'll show you how I do that. Like, you have to think of stereo imaging. You have to think of it as left, right. Yeah, sure. But you also think up and down, right? Like a sub is going to be feeling like it's in the floor. You know what I mean? So you got to use all your stereo imaging. And that's something that an amateur mixer will never do, right? They just don't do that. They don't think like that because they usually can't hear that, because they're not in a room that's good enough to hear that. They don't use monitors that are good enough to hear that, all that stuff, right? So three-way monitors are really good for imaging for me because you can hear the definitive separation as you go up, right? So you go up, you get into the tweeter more, you get to the top of the tweeter, you can get to the middle of the tweeter, you can get to the, you know, you can feel the up and down of it. So that's something to keep in mind if you want the listener experience to be great in $1 million studio and also great on coming out of your cell phone, right? So otherwise everything starts to sound really mono. So right now we're going to take this low vocal, get it low. We're going to take the high vocal and go high with it.
Won't you do it down where squatches taking chances, crossing strains and breaking branches, popping seeds and growing trees, and stopping avalanches. Won't you do it down where squatches taking chances, crossing strains and breaking branches, popping seeds and growing trees, and stopping avalanches.
This definitely needs some good compression as well, so we're going to compress it. And it looks like there's actually a automated thing on it already. So my whole idea just doesn't really work because the listener that's, you know, they're used to hearing the vocal like panning and doing the thing that they probably sat in the studio and worked hard to do. So I'm just going to keep that idea, okay? But I need to compress it because you're missing words and it's going, yeah, like it's, you know, going up and down.
Won't you do it down where squatches taking chances, crossing strains and breaking branches, popping seeds and growing trees, and stopping avalanches. He won't take no for an answer. There's no going back if he won't let ya. Growing trees is all he knows, and peeping at you through the upstairs window. Flash, won't you do it? Squatches taking chances, crossing strains and breaking branches, popping seeds and growing. Won't you do it down where squatches taking chances, crossing strains and breaking branches, popping seeds and growing trees, and stopping avalanches. He won't take no for an answer. There's no going back.
Another thing I want to do with this vocal is just kind of give it a little bit more vibe. So the lo-fi plugin is actually really good for this as well. I just use lo-fi on this to give it a little bit more of a vibe. Just a little bit more texture to it. So we'll distort just a touch. You know, 2.2 does a lot on that distortion. And then I might even take the sample size down, like, you know, to 15 bits or so. So let's see what that did.
Wanna burn your slash, won't you do it down where squatches taking chances, crossing strains and breaking branches, popping seeds and growing trees, and stopping avalanches. He won't take no for an answer. There's no going back if he won't let ya. Growing trees is all he knows, and peeping at you through the upstairs window.
So you see how we got that vocal more like popping with it, and it's like here's the lead, and then here's this double that's like here. You know, like I don't want it to be here. I want it to be like just behind it. But I still want to hear it, and I want to hear it defined. So same thing, I'm just going to drag, option drag, copy down this one and this one, the Pro Q3 and the RVox. And then I don't think I'll use the lo-fi on the high vocal. I don't think that's necessary. But I am going to get rid of this, and we're going to probably sweep up a little bit higher. And also get rid of that a little bit. And then I might even put a little sparkle at the top a little bit. So let's try this out.
Wanna burn your slash, won't you do it down where Scotches taking chances, crossing strains and breaking branches, popping seeds and growing trees, and stopping avalanches. He won't take no for an answer, there's no going back if he won't let ya. Growing trees is all he knows, and peeping at you through the upstairs window.
So that already just really makes this sit much better to my ear. It's just like now you can hear that double. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give them some send as well to that verb. So let's go to the verb. You can send it to the fattening as well. What it'll do basically is kind of like reach out a little bit more to the right and left. Make sure you put follow main pan on, just because that's, you know, important when you have panning and you have automation and all that stuff on these. So I'm going to do some fattening, and I'm also going to send these out the vocal reverb as well. So this, I guess we called it long reverb, but you know, we know it's a short reverb. So let's do the same thing here. Let's follow the main pan and make sure that the reverb's following the vocal as it gets panned. And then just to get a starting point on this fattening, I might like start it here or something, and let's just listen to what it's doing. We're focusing on that lower double.
Wanna burn your slash, won't you do it down where Scotches taking chances, crossing strains and breaking branches, popping seeds and growing trees, and stopping avalanches. He won't take no for an answer, there's no going back if he won't let ya. Growing trees is all he knows, and peeping at you through the upstairs window.
So that's doing great things for that low vocal. I really like that. It's basically like, you know, giving it its own space, and then it's pushing it back just a little bit in the mix and showing you that the mix is starting to open up a little bit. So same thing here. I'm just going to drag and, you know, basically option drag these, right? And it's saying this operation will overwrite one or more of the automation playlists. That's fine. We don't care. Let's make sure, though, it doesn't like overwrite the volume pan, the panning automation that's going on. But let's hear this.
Wanna burn your slash, won't you do it down where Scotches taking chances, crossing strains and breaking branches. Wanna burn your slash, won't you do it down where Scotches take. Wanna burn your slash, won't you do it down where Scotches taking chances, crossing strains and breaking branches, popping seeds and growing trees, and stopping avalanches. He won't take no for an answer, there's no going back if he won't let ya. Growing trees is all he knows, and peeping at you through the upstairs window. Wanna burn your slash.
So I'm noticing there's also volume automation on these. So let's just check out the volume. Yeah, it looks like he's automated quite a bit here. So we may change that stuff. We don't really need to worry about it right now. I just noticed that everything's just a little bit loud for me as far as like a double harmony stack would go. So to my ears, I feel like it all just needs to be kind of ridden down. So what you can do is just grab all of it and just bring it all down, you know, like let's say 3 dB, 2.5 dB is good. All right, just grab all this and we're just going 2.5 dB down, 2.6, right? So now let's listen to this, and I think it's pretty tucked, and then I'll start bringing in these other vocals, and we'll just start, you know, checking these out and seeing what they're doing.
Crossing strains and breaking branches.
Another thing is definitely want to hear this with everything else right now just to see where we're at. So I'm going to pop it in the mix here.
Chances, crossing strains and breaking branches, popping seeds and growing trees, and stopping avalanches. He won't take no for an answer, there's no going back if he won't let ya. Growing trees is all he knows, and peeping at you through the upstairs window. Avalanches, he won't take no for an answer, there's no going back if he won't let ya. Growing trees is all he knows, and peeping at you through the upstairs window.
So obviously lower stuff is going to sound lower in volume to the ear as well. So I just kind of brought the lows up and I brought the highs down, because the high stuff, you know, that stuff needs to come down just because it starts to catch the ear a lot. And you don't really want to like be so focused on that. because there are a lot of other parts coming on, you know, like there's going to be guitars and acoustic guitars, electric guitars, all that stuff. So for now, let's jump into getting these next vocals going. It says J backtrack vocal tuned, and then we'll bring in these last two. And this looks like a stereo pair. So let's hear this.
Slide, let her know where you're at. Ooh, slide. You're at 36101 Redwoods. 707. Ooh.
So this sounds like a harmony. So I like this. I like this idea. I'm gonna actually bring the Pro Q, the RVox, and the Lo-Fi down from the lower one because it sounds like it's mainly low stuff. The fattening and the long/short verb, right, that we used. So let's just give this a listen here, and we might mess around with the volume here. But for now, let's hear it.
707. Ooh. 707. Ooh. That's a C-Squatch trap. Now all aboard, come along to the back of the woods. Hum the song and sing along, it'll be all good. Squatches on heaven.
Okay, so my idea here with these, like we might even like try some creative stuff there. We might try like a vocalizer, some sort of like, you know, in my head right now I'm hearing Altar Boy, you know, and chopping these and basically I'll show you what I'm going to do here, what my idea is. We'll do like vocal effect stacks. Okay, and this is kind of like where you get into some creative stuff as a mixer that you should always try, because the client might just go, whoa, that's incredible. I never thought of that. That's insane, you know? But these oohs and ahs, wherever we see an ooh and ah, we're going to chop it and we're going to pop it down to this track.
Squatches on all aboard. Ooh, ooh. Squatches on heaven. Ooh, 707. Ooh.
Okay, because most of this is oohs and ahs, I'm just going to grab the whole thing. You can go Command X, and then you can just go down and hit Command V. Oh, can't do that because this is a stereo track, so it's going mono to stereo. So I actually need to do a mono audio track. So let's get rid of this one. Say delete. And now we have this mono audio track, and we're going to call this vocal effects. And we can just copy it even, Command C and then semicolon, right? And then Command V. So I'm just copy and pasting it. And then what I'll do for now is I'll mute this, but anytime we hear like a phrase where he's saying something, we'll let that part play up here, right? And then the vocal effects stuff we're going to put down here. So I do want these two first ones, and I do probably want some fattening, and that verb is cool as well. But for here, I'm going to pan this center. I'm going to make sure the pan isn't automated. So just highlight and delete all the pan automation, keep it up the middle. And then the oohs and the ahs are basically what I'm going to be focusing on here to give them a cool effect, and also maybe give them some more dimension, you know? So the first thing I'd reach to is Altar Boy. Little Altar Boy is going to give me that that format shift. We can also blend it in and do like lower pitch stuff. So that could be really cool. Let's hear. I'm just going to mess around with this a little bit. And I'm hearing quite a bit of noise in there, so another thing I want to make sure of is not to be boosting too much and probably like cutting out quite a bit here, so we don't get that like that wind noise or whatever. It might be car noise.
All aboard. Be all good. Squatches on heaven.
So this is a really cool vibe, I think. And then what we do is just like really verb it out. I'll use like a Valhalla or just, you know, anything like that. I really like Shimmer. I think it's a really cool plugin, and it gives like some really crazy dimension stuff. But I'll do the pitch mode. I'll do it dual, and then I'll go mono, like big, or I'll take the reverb to big stereo. I might even just go medium stereo to start, and then yeah, and then we just kind of mix this in a little bit and give it some really big stuff. Low cut it, like we don't need all that stuff down there, and also probably high cut quite a bit. And then we'll mess around with this stuff, and I'll show you what that'll do.
In the 707. Ooh, oh. In the 707. Ooh, oh. In the 707. Ooh, in the 707. Ooh,
All right, so I don't want to waste too much time like really digging into vocal effects until I kind of, you know, have a mix and a balance. So I just like to have a little fun, like while I'm mixing, like, oh, I should do some sound design stuff, you know. But that's a really cool idea there, and I think I'm going to keep it. And it's just doubled up, and I might only do it on the parts where it's like really legato pitch stuff, right? So for example, like the ooh, you know, like that part, like the oohs and the ahs, I think those are kind of big key parts to do this. So I'll just kind of like highlight here and hit B, blade it, you know, delete the stuff that's like really not so legato, that doesn't need that double. And then everything else, like anything that's going to be like super legato, like this passage here, like let's keep that and let's make that kind of a star. But you just listen to the music and find those points and those parts. Really important that you have that kind of excitement within a track.
In your tent, that's a C-Squatch trap. Now all aboard, come along to the back of the woods. I'm the we get caught in your tent, that's a C-Squatch trap. Now all aboard, we get caught in your tent, that's a C-Squatch trap. Now all aboard, come along to the back of the woods. I'm the song, we get caught in your tent, that's a C-Squatch trap. Now all aboard, come along to the back of the woods. We get caught in your tent, that's a C-Squatch trap. Now all aboard, come along to the back. We get caught in your tent, that's a C-Squatch trap. Now all aboard, come along to the back of the woods. We get on a one redwoods attack. You gotta stay on the road when you're leaving the flat, cause people flying off the edge just like Susie's a cat. When you show up, take a second, don't forget where you're at. Be all good.
So just get rid of the parts where it's like, you know, we all good, you know, anything that's like super consonant heavy, just get rid of it with the effect and only keep it for the super vowel heavy stuff.
Swatches on heaven. In the 707.
Another thing I forgot to do, which is going to be a big deal, is bring this to the all vocal bus, because we're not hearing it very well. So now it's going to really come out.
In the 707. Ooh. In the 707.
Gives it a really cool texture. It just makes it a little more modern. Gives it a little vibe, you know. I always love stuff like that. Like, just give things a little vibe, give them a little texture. You don't need to go overboard. Doesn't need to be like this crazy like alien sound or something, but you know, if it just sounds kind of cool, unique, you know, tape saturated, pitched up and down, whatever, I think it really pulls the ear a little bit more and goes like, oh, that's really interesting little texture in there. I like that. Okay, and then the next thing, and that's what mixing's all about. It's like these little tiny moves that make it into a record, you know, like you're finessing what they already have, and then you're also taking stuff and going, hey, that's a cool idea. Let me make it an actual like real idea, like solidify the idea and make and sell it through, you know, like that's kind of your job as a mixing engineer. Sell that idea through. Make sure that that artist sounds like a star. They don't sound like they're just cutting a demo, or they came up with an idea and they hummed in a microphone, you know. You could see them in their room writing a track. You know, you don't want that. You want this suspension of disbelief. So let's hear these doubles here. Get into this and see what we got. Squatches own heaven. So this is actually really funny because they kind of had that idea, you know, make something trippy, have a higher one, and it sounds like they layered in a female vocalist here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make sure that these really come through, because right now they sound like they have a blanket over them, but they also sound like they were printed with like a phaser or something, which is kind of cool. And we're just going to basically exploit that idea, you know, really make it swim. Squatches own heaven. 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 So this is a cool vibe. I feel like they're both kind of doing different things, and it's a little confusing. But what we'll do here is we'll take these both to their own bus and just call them like, you know, high effects vocal or something like that, right? High Vox effects. And then make sure that they're going out the vocal mix bus. So take that to the vocal mix bus. Hopefully you're getting a hang of kind of the workflow I go through. That's kind of the idea, so you can understand, you know, how to professionally, you know, manage this stuff. I can usually work a lot faster if I'm not explaining this stuff to a camera and hitting stop and start and record and all that stuff. But, you know, that's kind of the beauty of this is I get to kind of chat with you guys. So high Vox, we're going to go to the vocal mix bus. And now those are going out the vocal mix bus, probably brought up some level. Squatches own heaven. And then let's just kind of make those shine just a little bit more. The first thing I would reach for is the Cla Vocals, just because I just have that. I know what this plugin does, and I know what I'm looking for. I know the sound I'm looking for. And I'm going to turn off the sub lower stuff. I'm going to go to the top on here. I'll take it up like, you know, a little bit. And then I'm going to start with the wall, and then we can go spank and push. But the wall will give me a lot of parallel compression. And then the reverb, we can do a verb here and just kind of give it some love. And then I really like this slap delay, and I'm going to see what that's going to do. And then we'll go really wide with the pitch here. So let's just hear what this does. Squatches own heaven. Squatches own heaven. Squatches own heaven. Squatches own heaven. Squatches own heaven.
his own heaven.
All right, I'm really liking that. So now I'm just going to kind of tuck that back into the mix. Let's hear it.
Watch his own heaven.
Just like gives it more of a choral effect, right? Like now we have this like just make it bigger, more droney. Obviously we haven't brought in guitars and stuff yet, but I just want to make sure that there's room for that kind of stuff, especially with the vocal. So now I'm going to move on because I'm not going to sit here and beat these vocals up. Let's get this last one though. There's a little background here at the end. Let's hear what this is doing. Okay, so I automatically feel like we should be sending this through the high Vox effect. First thing I'm going to do though is make sure we don't get any chunky stuff in there. So this is actually probably a good setting here. And let's compress it a little bit so we don't miss any of those notes. And let's send it to the high vocal effects bus with that female vocal, because I think it'll fit really nicely with that. And if it doesn't, then you just undo it. You know, it's not anything crazy. Like that's the part about mixing in the box and you know, technology that we have now is that you can just experiment and go throw your ideas at the wall. Don't be like, oh, that's not gonna work. Just try it. You know, if it doesn't work, cool, don't do it. Oh my god, crazy concept, Bradley. All right, so let's put this in. I think it's really kind of doing what we want it to do. Last thing, maybe what I want to do with this high vocal stuff is I want to give it some movement, some sort of like accentuating that flamming, you know, the flanger kind of effect. So let's find something that we can kind of mess around with. You know, there's so many different tools, but the first one I'm thinking is like going into the effects rack and Sound Toys and kind of just giving it something that's kind of gonna give it a little more like washy, you know, just vibe. You know, that's what we're looking for. I want like more of a vibe with this. I want it to be more swimmy. I want it to be more like kind of just buttery and silky back in the back. So let's find, like, first of all, we'll start with vocals and we'll just like look around here. Vocal doubler could work. Maybe twin double slap, micro shift classic, color chain high and bitey. Okay, so I'm just kind of looking around here. Sound design, here we go. Yeah, just check out some stuff. Modulation is probably a good one to look at, like phase mistress kind of stuff. Whirly tremolo delay, that could be cool. You know, let's just start checking some stuff out. Stereo shimmer, let's start with this, and then we'll blend it in so you have a mix knob here for the effects. And make sure this is on the right BPM, like make sure it's on MIDI, and it'll sync to your session. So that's kind of the vibe I'm looking for, is like some swimmy movement. So I think this is doing a good job. Let's hear it. 707. So the next element I'm going to start bringing in the next module will be the acoustic guitars and any other rhythmic stuff. So like you could see, these are going to be rhythmic. So we're going to bring in some more rhythm stuff, and then we'll also start to bring in the djembes and the tambourines and the percussion stuff. So more rhythm stuff now that we have like the fundamental drum, bass, vocal. That's kind of how I start a mix, and then I just kind of want to build around that. So let's get into it. I'll see you there.